LinkedIn event. Is the Luma linked?
I linked it to the.
Wait, do we not want to start live before? Wait, it's live already? Oh shoot, okay.
It's already 59. So I'm like.
Oh, okay.
Oops.
Okay, hi everyone. We're just waiting for people to join. We're starting early, so if you're on YouTube, if you're watching the recording, feel free to skip a couple of minutes. Let's get the chat active. If you have your resume roasted, dump it below and comment down below in the chat on LinkedIn or YouTube Live where y'all are based. Like comment a Google Drive link of your resume if you like to be reviewed. Jenny and Kathy and Min, where are y'all based? Gets chat active.
Yeah, I am in Seattle, Washington. We're finally getting some sun, but it's still in the cool 60s, which is nice.
Yeah, I am in San Francisco. Yeah.
Cool. I'm in SF as well. If you guys have a resume link for us to roast, ping it in the LinkedIn Live, and I'll dump it here in the private chat so Min can do it as well. As we wait for people to join, there's people joining right now on like YouTube and LinkedIn. What are the biggest mistakes people make on their resume?
Okay. I see that a lot of resumes are coming in already. So.
Just need to refresh. There's like a slight delay on my LinkedIn always.
Mm-hmm.
I see the comments here on StreamYard and more stuff on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn's like lagging right now, but as we wait for this to get settled, everyone just comment your resume. You'll go first order, first come first serve, and the faster you comment, the more likelihood we'll mention it.
I just pull it directly from there.
Yeah, my LinkedIn is right now.
Okay. Why don't Jenny and wait, I think Jenny is a familiar faces since Jenny has been here for like the previous rows, but Kathy has not. So how about Kathy? You can introduce yourself. Like, yeah, your background, what's up, and like what are you looking for in this resume rows?
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Kathy. I am a product designer and content creator. I started my journey at IBM. That was my first design job. And then I worked at Dropbox. I worked on their HelloSign and DocSend teams, both of which were startups that were acquired by Dropbox. So that was a really cool experience. And then I worked at Snorkel AI. They are a Series D startup, 200 people, and I was the lead designer on annotation. And I'm based in San Francisco.
Cool. Nice. So yeah, Kathy's also one of the coaches like Jenny for our cohort 20. And yeah, currently we're going strong with stepping into ideations and stuff. And if you have any questions about resume, about like say cohort, you can feel free to drop it also in the LinkedIn chat, and we'll like take some time, answer it at the end of our session. Okay, let me start sharing screen and we can begin roasting. Make it larger. Sent. All right, can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So this is the first resume that got submitted. What do we think? From the layout, first impression, yeah. The link is also in the private chat if you're in StreamYard. So for Kathy and Jenny, if you want to check it out, it's the first one that I put in. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Mm, okay, I see. It's a 2-page resume for context. You have a set of tools, skills, product designer.
Okay, so I like how it's separated into like 2 columns. It's like it's better for readability. I noticed the first thing that I was trying to do was click on the LinkedIn and portfolio, but I didn't know if it was clickable or not. There's no affordance to imply that it's interactive or clickable. I know the cursor changes, but that's it. So I would add some type of affordance. Like links are usually underlined, but I know that can be a little visually distracting. So up to you, but some type of affordance to indicate that is clickable. That's one of the first things. And yeah, I don't love that it's 2 pages. I think so. Here's my hot take. I think as a designer, it's your job to be able to consolidate things, and to cut out the crap, and just have things to be like super simple. So in this case, like as a resume, like you should be able to like put things down into 1 page, especially if you're a junior designer. Like you don't have like that many things to put onto your resume. I think if you have like 10, 20 years of experience, then that's another story. But in this case, I think you can prioritize and figure out like how can I consolidate into 1 page to signal that you are able to prioritize and simplify as a designer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially speaking on that, like there's a lot of professional experience as well as volunteering experience. Just take a look at each of those bullets, the different job titles, and how it actually tells the story of whether like you're a product designer, this is what you've done. Like for example, I personally don't know if junior manager at Wonder House is something that you like. I think you can take it out. I think even if you take it out, it's not going to impact you negatively. Actually, it might just like really help you condense this resume into like, I'm a designer or I do this kind of related fields or this kind of related job responsibility. That goes with the volunteering. I think like key volunteer for the Special Olympics one, maybe you can take that out too. But again, +1 to what Kathy has said, you really want to think about like what is that core essence? Like what is the main ideas that you want recruiters to take away from this and your past experiences?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, going off of what Jenny said, to start helping you prioritize, like I would move education to the top, because like honestly, tools like designers generally use the same set of tools, so like nobody cares that you know how to use Figma. That is like implied. So move that down. I don't know if I would even include like a tool section unless there's like a specific type of design role that you're going for, like motion design specifically, right? Then there's like specific motion design tools that you want to highlight. But other than that, I don't know how helpful that is. So yeah, move education to the top. Awards, that's really cool. I would move that up to the top as well. But tools and skills, yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. But I interrupted. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I +1 again on all of that. I feel like the tools and skills place, like just take a look at that, see what are you really trying to say. I also was taking a look at your certificates and awards. I wonder if you can just maybe combine that section just to help with the organization there and not to like just start breaking down your resume at every single nuance difference. And I'm also wondering, you have the Google UX design specialization in the education and also have the certificate separately in the certificate area. Maybe decide like where you want to highlight it. But again, just like take a look at your resume as a whole and think about what is like the most important thing you want people to take away from it.
And also you can make it one page by incorporating like the skills you use into your experience section. And I noticed a lot of fluffy words, like for example, like crafting a narrative which garnered a honorable mention. Like just you can just use tools like ChatGPT to make it shorter and integrate like stuff like your skills, your tools into your experience section. I like the metrics, the 32%, the numbers are great, but there's different ways you can like shorten that too.
Yeah, and then on that note, the top two bullets, like the top few bullets should be your strongest, and they're not. Like led a team in developing design elements and enhancing interactivity for informational web page. I'm gonna be real with you. That is very generic. Like I could go in and say that I like did something like that, right? Like any designer can say they develop design elements and enhance interactivity. Like that's very, very generic. Like each line on your resume should only be something that like you can say and that you as a designer have like certain special capabilities that led to the success of the project. And that is not what this bullet is giving. So one way to just immediately make that better is like Grace was saying, like metrics. If you can say, oh, like I increased this by like 30%, that's great. So I see you already did that. Yeah, try to make the first few bullets like your strongest, and each bullet should be specific to you. And if another designer is able to say that they did something like that, like then it's a no-go. Like it's not going to impress hiring managers.
Ooh, on that note, because it's performance review season, I've been looking at the different rubrics and like how if you're in a corporate space, they kind of like break down like what are the expectations of different roles. If it's something that's like very generic or you can like see it on a job description, try to think a little bit more about that and see like what are the things that I have done, what have I kind of contributed to this project or changed or really influenced that kind of direction that is taken. I think that would just really make any resume that much more powerful.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Sounds
good.
Okay, this is the second one. One page with some space down here too. I don't think the links are clickable to start with. And then applying for UX roles. What do we think about like wordings in terms of like section names? So this person used competencies instead of like popularly we're gonna say like skills and stuff, right? Like would that impact anything? What do you guys think?
I personally don't like it. I think you're trying to fancy it up when you can just be clear and say skills. I think like everything else is very simple, but then competencies is like, okay, I don't know. I also wonder like depending, recruiters are human, so they might think of this and interpret this word in a different way than you might have intended. So just thinking about like semantics as well and like understanding there are reasons why that certain resumes have very standardized section titles is because it's worked and it's just like a very clear way to group that kind of content into that subject or topic, or in this case, skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Salim, by the way. Thanks for being active member of Design Buddies. I've noticed a lot of like words, and I feel like you could, for example, like conducted user interviews, like maybe like what was the outcome of this? Like, for example, like in the first experience section, the last bullet point, it says develop local branding and voice identity. You can maybe say like it says boost recognition engagement, like how many percent did it engage, like what was the impact of your work instead of saying what you did. And then like integrating like the competency stuff into your experience section too. Like the second one with the 6% year over year increase, like that's good. So try to and then try to include more metrics in like the first experience. So that's what that's what the one they care the most.
And I feel like seems like this resume is like a career switcher in a sense, because like all like the bottom experience are like about care, customer care, in a sense. So is there any chance that this portfolio can be a bit more UX relevant if they're looking for UX role? What do you guys think?
So in this case, I feel like recruiters also look at how long you spent time in a role, not just about like how long can they stay productive in a certain role, but how much experience you have. In this case, now that Min's pointed it out, I'm looking deeper into it and I'm like, okay, so you've been a designer for 2 months. I think at this point, maybe highlighting more about like certain projects that you've done on the side, like anything that you've done outside of the work experience as well that shows that you are very interested in UX design, you've done certain things, might help you a lot more than just having that list of skills or competencies on the side. And I think it's fine to, flex what you know, because transferable skills are important. Soft skills are very important to be a good collaborator, but really be intentional about like what are you showing. Again, for this, it's like just looking at the first recent one, the retention care manager. You talk about like creating a document for coaching, leading to like this kind of score improvement, and then you've improved team effectiveness through blah blah blah. I think here maybe just talking a lot more about that collaborative aspect and like the leadership, really honing in on like I've managed this many people, led this many summits, had these kind of key points, could help also for recruiters to say like, okay, they have a lot more, like they think analytically, they think a little bit deeper about the problem space or situation they're working in. And also just shifting into the education side, I see that in the graphic design, you write 36 credits towards an associate. I don't know if that's helpful. I'd love to ask that question to the group here as well. I think maybe just taking it out and saying like associate's degree would do the job instead of writing out the credits. But again, I don't know if this means it's completed or if it's like a minor in a way. So there are certain questions that the recruiter might start thinking about, which could either be like, I'm curious about them, I'm going to talk to them more, or, ooh, maybe they're not what we're actually looking for this position.
Yeah. I was just gonna bring up one thing I do like about this resume. Like the overall visuals are good. I feel like it shows that you have a clear understanding of visual design and hierarchy, so that's solid. And then to go off the point of like career switching, yeah, I think like as a career switcher, like you have a unique competitive advantage. Like you have transferable skills, like Jenny was saying. And so highlight that, because what I'm seeing is the vibe of like the tone and the voice of the first experience at Make Fix Hack. That voice and tone is very different from that of the retention care manager. So what that's communicating to me as like if I were a high manager is you see that as very separate. Like you see like the career as a designer very separate from like being a retention care manager, and that works against you. You want to show that like, hey, this is like the story of the career that I'm telling, and this is how all the skills that I gain as a retention care manager transfer into UX design, and this is why I am actually a better designer, because I'm coming from a different career as opposed to other like fresh grad or like students who are trying to get like an entry level job in design. So I would actually, everything that I just said, I would actually put that into ChatGPT and ask it to rephrase everything here so that it tells a story.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And, speaking from a political science major student who was kind of in the sea of all of these human-centered design engineering, computer science, informatics students, it was like, oh gosh, what can I do to shine in all of these accomplished folks, but it really is, how do you present yourself? How do you present that uniqueness of your design thinking? How do you understand the process and the problem? As Kathy said, like, certain things that you have learned or you have experienced and overcome can really help you with stakeholder management, project prioritization, actually communicating like what is the voice of the customer or the user research that you're trying to work with. So everything just can really make you shine. And if you express it well here, then recruiters might be interested. And when they start talking about like, oh, I see you've been like a designer for a few months and you've had like a lot of years of experience in this, can you tell me more about that? Then you really like hit them with every single one. Like, man, I've had leadership positions in this kind of sense. I've helped with this efficiency conversations. I've been in tough discussions with different stakeholders. And those are the reasons why you show people that you are a good collaborator and you can work in like a team setting as well. Yeah. But yeah, I like the format of this. I think we talked about this last week as well on 2-column or 1-column, but I think 2-column, I'm team 2-column. I think it's just very clean and it utilizes the space really well.
Okay, cool. Should we move on to the next resume?
Yes.
Okay, do it. All right. So, seems like a graphic design portfolio. So I don't see any UX role per se. I see one role down here, but that's it. Also, I feel like this designer, and I think the previous designer might have used like Figma or some design tools to craft the resume. So like when I highlight it, it's a bit weird. Do you guys think it's a red flag if when like you highlight the resume and it just like randomly highlight stuff like this? What do you guys think?
I mean, I think it really depends on the recruiter and the hiring style of that company too. I know that sometimes they ask you specifically to send the Google Doc so they can copy paste as well. I think it's fine, but some people might find problems with it.
Okay.
I think one thing though, for like portfolios, if you have information there you want people to be able to copy, make sure that that's copyable. I think that shows up a lot in website portfolios. Like you have email, but it's more like I don't know what you would call it, but it's more like in the website rather than you can copy paste that.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in and say being a volunteer firefighter, like that's really cool. That immediately got my attention. And okay, so this leads to a point I was gonna make. I think in general, a resume is not necessarily like the end all be all. Like a hiring manager is not gonna look at your resume and be like, okay, I'm definitely gonna hire this person. All a resume really is meant to be like a conversation starter, right? So if somebody looks at your resume and they're like, oh shit, like I want to talk to this person, then your resume did the job. Like the point is to lead to a conversation or an interview, right? And so like putting stuff that like makes you stand out, like being a volunteer firefighter for like the past like decade, like that's cool, like obviously like that's not like the main thing that would make somebody like want to talk to you, but like that sparks a conversation, like that stands out. So I just wanted to point that out first.
Let's see.
The design of it is really cute and really aesthetic, but I feel like there's stuff you can improve. Like for example, like design social media advertising campaigns, visuals under tight deadlines. You can mention like the impact of it. The design of 20+ unique brands. That's like really cool. Maybe you can like name drop some.
Let's see. I see over here some like inconsistency with like the typo. So say over here it's like seems like a regular weight, and then over here is like bolded. Some people might pick up on these small details, but make sure that stuff look consistent overall.
This is just a nit for me. I think adding on to what Grace said about the bullet points here, I think you can definitely add more numbers, and if you can, name drop, so you really flex on those partnerships and the good business relationships that you have helped with. But then also, like, looking at the comic and novel writer one, I think we can refine the bullets more. I think it's just more something that you can look at your entire resume for. But like the second bullet is like, was trusted to handle high quality printed assets. I think you can just do like responsible for or something like that. There are a lot of different ways that it's like some good action words or just good starting ways to start your bullets. But things like that, I think it really just drives like another punch of like, hey, I was either lead of this, or I was the sole responsible person, I signed off on XYZ. A lot of a lot of jobs also, they just want someone who can be self-sufficient and like knows what's going on, can like be trusted to do their job. So those things would be nice for a recruiter to see and be like, hey, they can be either a self-starter or like just figure things out. If they are blocked, like they can kind of, they can be independent but also a team player at the same time.
Yeah. And then at the risk of sounding redundant, I also just have to say, a lot of these, like, they don't necessarily have metrics, and they're like generic. Like I think anybody can say like, oh, I like created promotional and printed materials, right? But I'm sure like there's like something special that you did there, like some special impact that because of your abilities as a graphic designer, like you excelled in that responsibility. Like what is it? Right? Like anybody can go on Canva and be like, oh, I created promotional printed material. But like I'm sure there was more to it, right? So like flex, like tell us like what special thing did you do? Like what impact did you create and drive? That's yeah. So I see that across like all the bullet points here. Even the one with like the number, like over 20 unique brands. I think that one is better. But yeah, like in general, like, oh, like produced like print and digital assets, like created brand identity. I think it's just like you just like need a little bit more. Like tell me about your impact. I think that would make it like that would make this resume like 10x stronger. But with that said, overall, like I think the design is solid. I can tell you're a graphic designer. Like the overall visual design just makes me feel like you have your shit together. So solid on that front.
Yeah, it'll definitely catch people's eyes on how clean it looks. And then when they start going into it, they might start having some thoughts. And that's where we really want to grab them. Because if you catch that eye, like if you get like the first 2 seconds of, oh, maybe I'll look at this resume. And then the next 5 seconds is so important to be like, hey, this is what I can offer. This is all the things that I've accomplished.
Yeah. I also want to know on the skills, and this is something I saw in the other two resumes. I like how you group them, like prototyping and design, web development, 3D design. Like I see a lot of designers just like list out all these tools, and I like stop reading by the third one. Like I like how you clearly show that like you understand like you can't just like list out every single like skill or every single tool, and that you're like distinctly showing like, hey, I'm good at prototyping, I'm good at web development, and I'm good at 3D design. So props on that.
Nice. Okay, should we move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. This designers has 5 years of experience and so many roles. Even like design engineer, product manager, and also like UX research assistant. So go look.
There's an extra comment on the end of soft skills. My eye just went there. I think it's hard to be perfect with like typos and little miss things, but just take a look over. And I say this as personal experience. I've made typos a lot and sent it away, so it's a learning thing.
Is it on this resume?
Oh, oops! I'm on the wrong resume.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, are we?
Should be the fourth one that Grace sent.
Oh,
I think they
okay.
accidentally skipped one, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at this one right now. I feel like with 5 years of crafting, I feel like it's a lot of buzzwords, and I'm just like buzzwords. You shouldn't like. I feel like all designers basically turn complex problems into simple, meaningful interactions. Like you don't need to like mention that. That should be a given. And then yeah, so I think that's safe. Space you can save there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also like the text expands out to the entire width of the page, which is not good because as a designer, the design principle is humanize. I think the optimal like width for readability is like 75 characters. That's why a lot of resumes are like 2 columns because otherwise like it's hard to read. Like books don't have it, like they don't span like this wide of a page, right? And there's a reason for that because it doesn't optimize for readability. So show that you understand that as a designer and change the resume format accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plus one to that. I think we've seen a lot of resumes that kind of push it out all the way to the side and push up the push all the way, like maximizing the page to try to fit as much information as you can, but sometimes it's not really that beneficial because it shows people that one, maybe you are just trying to maximize the space, or two, maybe you don't understand how to really optimize this space. And as Kathy pointed out, like a lot of design is trying to make sure that it works within the system that you're working in, or you have certain constraints. So practicing good UX principles with your resume as well is just a really good practice and catches other people's eyes.
I do like how you take the time to explain what each company like kind of does because I feel like a lot of resumes I'm like, oh, I don't even know what this company does, like what do they do exactly. So I like that. And then yeah, like I want to see metrics. I like there's not enough, and like the top 2 bullets, like there's no metrics in them. They're like, again, like conducted competitive analysis, user research, and usability testing. Like every single designer can say that. Like that is like way too generic. Like what specifically did you do? Like what was the impact? Either like I know a lot of designers are like, oh, I don't have the results, I don't have the metrics. Like that's fair, that's okay. You know, like sometimes you don't have a lot of time as an intern to actually see how the product, like to see the product ship first of all, and then to like even get the metrics, right? So that's fair, but then like talk about like what specifically did you like contribute to, or like what special role did you play? Because otherwise it's just like I might as not be reading this resume because like anybody can say that they did usability testing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on that, like if you don't have metrics, it's good to try to get the metrics that you can during the internship. If anyone's going into internships, like ask the people in your team to see if there's any information you can use. But also here, you can just call out, like quantify what you've done. Competitive analysis on how many markets, how many different competitors. The user research, what kind of user research methodology did you use? How many people were involved? How long was the user research studies? And if it was, for example, a diary study, then it's definitely highlight that. Like it was a diary study that spanned 6 months. We had 10 participants, blah, blah, blah. Like all of those details are what sets you apart from other people who say that I've done this, which is very generic. Even for like content design, if I said I did user research, it's going to be a different type of user research because I'm asking different types of questions than, for example, Kathy would do with designs. Like it's really about like, what are you actually doing? And you also add that you drive product refinement. So just add a little more detail on like actually what was the refinement? Like was it like you improved the onboarding flow, or you improved just like the general understanding, or the way that the helps in the article was shown, like certain examples that can really show what it has done rather than just state what you have done.
Yeah, I love how you got into like specifics, Jenny. Like talk about the research methodology or like how many people you talk to, like that's great. One thing that just popped into my head, another one, because I remember like as a student or like as a fresh grad, I was like, oh shoot, like I don't have metrics to show. One thing that I did was like I talked about how many like Jira tickets I filed. So if you can, or like or even like if you like wrote down like action items, like how many like insights or action items this created, and then like how many of those were like completed. That in and of itself is like a metric. It shows that like as a designer, you are able to transform research insights into like actually like actionable to-dos that engineers are actively like carrying out and executing.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a good point. Like sometimes, for example, I did a competitive analysis. I found these like topics and areas of improvement, but if we can't have the resources to just like do it and ship it now, then I still did it. I've still identified that. So just add in those details, because it's really cool for recruiters to see that and be like, hey, like there's a lot more to this than just a generic resume that every other designer or researcher might craft with the help of Google or whatnot.
Yeah. And then one more thing, like what to go off of what Jenny was saying, like oftentimes like resumes are also a way for people to like refer someone. So like someone will reach out to me like from LinkedIn, and they'll be like, oh, can you refer me? And I'm like, oh, send me your resume. And then I look at their resume and I pick out like one or two like points that are like really stand out, and then I like write the referral. And if I'm feeling like extra gracious, I will like really like go out on a limb and be like, okay, like they're a really good candidate because they did like this and this, right? So a framing for your resume is what would you like if you handed your resume to a recruiter or to someone you wanted to refer you, what like one or two points would you want them to pick up? Like ideally every single point is like an amazing, like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool that they accomplished, right? So like that's one way to frame it. Like every point should be something that somebody can scan and be like, oh my gosh, like this is a really cool thing that this person did, and I want to tell others about this, right? So if any of these bullet points is not accomplishing that, then you need to rewrite it.
Just an idea. Like think of it next time you go to the grocery store. Think about the packaging. Think of resume as your marketing page. Like you are marketing yourself. You are marketing all the good things that you can do. Is it GMO, like non-GMO, organic? Like here is gluten-free. Like what is it about this item, this product? Not saying you're a product, but like what is it about this product that people might look at and be like, hey, that's what I'm looking for. That's what the hiring manager is looking for. This is the thing that would help us achieve whatever goals that we have in that problem space. And that's really relevant in tech jobs because you are going to be supporting specific like verticals or industries. And if you can show that and be like, hey, I know what I'm talking about, and do a little bit of humble bragging, is hard, but just get a little comfortable with it, because ultimately you have accomplished all of this already. You just have to tell it to people and really just drive in that point.
Sounds good. Okay, I think last resume that we're going to look at today is the next one, and then we can move on to Q&A. So, okay. This is a Google Doc resume. Do you guys prefer like a PDF or like a Google Doc link?
My personal preference is PDF. I usually just send the PDF as a file to folks. That's my personal preference though. And also it just helps with people to like attach it and send it away, whether it's referrals or the recruiters trying to send it out to the other hiring managers. If it's in PDF form already, it's just, and you can also check that it looks okay in PDF form if it's under your kind of checks and checking process.
Okay.
First thing, nitpicky, but there's a slash at the end of the link of LinkedIn and portfolio. Get rid of it. As a designer, you want to keep things as simple as possible. So anywhere that you can get rid of extra fluff, like get rid of it. So that, and designers also need to have attention to detail, right? So like, guys, no typos. And you should be making things as simple as possible where you can. So that's one thing. And then the other thing, just the overall visuals. I'm gonna be honest, this does not look like a design resume. This looks like I think like when I was applying for like business development roles, like before I got into design, like there's like certain templates for this, and so it kind of looks like a templated version, which is like it's a good starting point. But like what I would recommend is like go to Canva or like go on Figma and like just there's so many templates out there. I think you want to convey that like, hey, like right off the bat, like right when I glance at your resume, like this is a designer, right? Like it's very obvious. Again, like show don't tell, right? So that is my first point of feedback. Like look into investing in the visual design of the resume first and foremost.
And I think we talked about this last week's session as well, like ATS versus design resume. Which one is better? Which one should you have? I mean, it's good to have both, but because to Kathy's point, you are a designer, they want to see like, you know, not just how creative you are, but how do you express different designs? How do you utilize the space that you have? What are the different things that you have identified as most important in the information hierarchy or the different structure that you employ into the design? So it's good practice also to just have both of them on hand. If you get like contacted, like cold called or LinkedIn messaged by a recruiter, it's really great to send them that pretty version, just to show like, hey, I have personality, I have a lot of like ideas, I have the professional side, but also I have like the UX and really just like trying to be mindful of the aesthetic and minimalism UX principle of that. Also, I was wondering, in the skills, everything else is kind of like a skill and then comma, skill, comma. But then for soft skills, you go into sentence format. Just check on that. If you want to go sentence format, just see how it fits into things. I think, especially because you say with an eye for detail, I'm just like, this must be intentional, but I'm also curious. But that's also speaking as a content person. I might be honing in on that too hard.
Yeah, I also like how I think the content or like copy of the resume is like pretty solid. Like I like how you talk like 7+ versions in Figma. That's good. And then I also liked how like at the Brain Center, like you're a research assistant and you talked about like, because that seems like very like very different from design, but it seems like you really work to show like how that is like related to design. So I can see the effort put in there. And then like 2,000 plus attendees, the numbers just automatically like stick out to me. So I like I think upon like glancing at this, like I can tell that you're very involved in school, and that like you're a go-getter. So like that's great. I love that about this.
Okay. Any more thoughts? If not, we can move into like Q&A. And yeah, I believe Kathy has some like announcement to make too. So yeah, Kathy, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you liked my tips and hot takes in this resume roast session, I also offer one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you go on my LinkedIn profile, there is a link to book. I think I only have a couple spots in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, I am open to bookings. I'll also put it in the chat here.
Cool. Okay, I'll stop sharing screen. And now, like, we can start answering any questions that you guys have. Just like general tips about resume, presenting your works and stuff. And we also have like upcoming sessions, also Fridays again on different topics. I think we have like portfolios coming back again, and also LinkedIn profile roast and pitch deck roast. So we'll see how it goes. Depends on demand. Like we might change up, but so far we have a schedule posted on Design Buddies LinkedIn. Yeah, so if you want to stay tuned for all those events. Like follow us as well. So stop screen. Okay.
Yeah, I could also go harder on the roast. I just didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I kept my comments to myself.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, I
By the
would
way,
love
we have
feedback. Like, were we too harsh? Should we
I can
should
be
we like
harsher.
be more intense? Like, what did you guys think? Like, I can also
Yeah.
be harsher.
Because like I could be like, I don't want to swear on this. I don't get demonetized, but I was like, what the f are these buzzwords or whatever? I don't know. I was gonna say that, but I don't. Yeah. Also, we have a product we're launching, CoPasses. If it's
Oh,
free
yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Do
We
you want
should
me to mention it
talk
really
about like our UXR readout on Sunday too. I don't think we ever talk about it like in the roast yet. But this Sunday, I think we're launching CoPass on Sunday, and
We can just give preview to everyone right now. They can sign up. It's free.
oh
You
yeah,
can
yeah,
get in
yeah.
early. Yeah.
So Grace, if you can like have
Oh.
a line or two about the products and like what is actually offered for our designers, I think that's gonna be great.
Yeah. So I'm sure y'all know we blasted y'all again and again about our lovely 10-week co-create cohort. We think so it's like we sold out for the last cohort, but if you are still wanting to learn UX design and want to observe what our lovely students are learning and what our lovely coaches, Jenny, Kathy, and more are teaching, you can also observe for free like on copass.ai. I'm sure it's like copass.ai. I'll share it in chat. Copass.ai. Copass.ai/timeline. It's a way for y'all to, let me share my screen too, to just like kind of learn UX design, of like observe how a real product is built on a team and see what our students are learning. Copass.ai/timeline. I'm going to share my screen with this as well. It can also have like fun little quizzes to test your UX knowledge. Let me present. I have too many screens open. Go create pass. So yeah, so these are like right now we're like on week 3. They're doing a lazy research, so we can see what our lovely students are working on, the progress plan and problem. And it's all like free to act and quiz to see, test out your like UX knowledge. So it's a way to like observe on the side and see what our students are actually doing. And then also like we have some perks coming up. Like if you sign up, we'll create like a secret Slack community for y'all to ask questions. And we'll share like resources for y'all as well. So it's like a secret community that y'all can join, specialized for like if y'all are interested in learning UX design. It's free right now. Co-create copass.ai/timeline. Also like we have a couple of minutes. We have like 12 minutes left. So if you guys have any questions about resume stuff, just share them in the chat. Cool. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. And yes, if you guys are interested in like seeing how students are like doing research and present about the insights, and they are coached by Kathy and Jenny right here, this Sunday we're hosting our like weekly workshop for 10-week cohort students, like open to everyone. So you guys can tune in and see how students like present their research, and you can apply that to your own like pitch deck when you present your work too. So we can start answering some questions right now. This is a pretty great point. Someone named Samuel likes talk about. I think it was like, would metrics work better for like more corporate job applications, or it will work. Like we should utilize it as much as possible, like metrics and numbers.
I don't think you're limited to a certain type of industry for metrics. I think metrics are just a way for us to quantify that thing that you have done. Yeah, like if you have it, use it, or you might just fall into the risk of being really generic and a bit vague.
Yeah, this one right here. I thought metrics would be more catered to corporate, business-oriented resumes. Yeah.
Yeah, to answer that question, I mean, at the end of the day, design is still part of the like business, right? Like, tech companies are gonna lay you off if you're not like meeting like business metrics. Like, you're still like prisoner to business metrics as a designer. And the sooner you know that and recognize that, the better. So yeah, no, like metrics should not just be like for corporate business oriented resumes. Like designers are just as responsible for business, for metrics. Yeah. And I think metrics is just one way to stand out. Like another way is like if you want an award, right? Like that's really cool. Like that's very specific. Like nobody else like can say that they want that award. So metrics is just one way to get the job done, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, metrics like one way to like quantify your impact in a sense. So even like flexing like the partners you work with, if they're like really big partners, those will have a positive impact on your resume as well. Yeah, I see like there's some like questions on like ATS and 2 columns resume. Seems like we can kind of like spotlight one very general one. So I think Grace made like a LinkedIn post on this. Like you have 2 resumes and one is like ATS friendly, one is like design friendly. So 2 columns format that does not get parsed properly. Yeah. So what do we think about these questions? And I think it's answer a lot of like questions people have on the site too.
I have a very specific take on this, and not everyone will agree, but I'm just going to say it. I don't believe in ATS systems. I actually don't when I was applying, I would try to like match my resume to the keywords in the job description. And then after like a while, I was like, I just forget it. Like I might as well not be doing that because like like that means that implies that you're mass applying and that implies that you're cold applying, neither of which are good strategies. Because if that's your strategy, like the ATS is a black hole. Like, can anybody tell me what happens to your resume once it goes to the ATS? Like, probably not, right? So like I would actually never cold apply. I never fill out the application form. I would only ever email like recruiters or hiring managers my resume, in which case like it didn't matter if it would pass through the ATS or not. I would only cold apply as a formality. So that is my hot take on that.
Ooh.
Honestly, +1 because I created an ATS friendly one when I was in school, and afterwards I didn't even touch it. I think especially if you're looking for a UX job, a lot of, again, your resume, you need to think about the user experience of it too. And ATS friendly stuff is great, but then like when it goes into that system, you do Workday, you do Greenhorn, whatever the systems that they have, afterwards recruiters still look at it. Like recruiters are still looking at your resume, still looking for the things that they're trying to pull out as like, these are the candidates that I want to shortlist and give to the hiring manager. So at that point, it's just like, how do you make sure like you catch the eye of the design? Like, how is it organized? Is the content strong? Like, is it actually specific to what you've done? So yeah, if it doesn't get parsed properly, of course, there are a lot of discussions online and offline about ATS versus not. But this is also the world of specialized jobs and specialized hiring funnels. So you might really just get more mileage from being more intentional with your resume, being more like not tailoring it to like very, very specific stuff, but then just being really smart about how you're presenting yourself and trying to get recruiters to notice that.
Sounds good. Okay. All right. I think there's one question that really cool. In design or artistic fields, should we create more visually designed resumes or stick to standard Google Doc template?
I mean, I have a middle one. I have one that's very standard with no colors, but I have some icons, and I try to like make it cute-ish, but still professional in a way. I think again, it just goes down to like, does it serve a purpose? Is that design or whatever structure, is it serving the purpose that you want it to? If you have different like flares, is it being a distracting point, or is it more like just supporting the structure and the story that you're telling in the resume? Again, just take this as a chance to market yourself. Like that's what resumes are for, just trying to get the attention of people.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you a story. Like when I used to go to like career fairs, and I was like, I literally had to print out my resume. I like as I handed it out, or like as I like kind of like opened my folder of my resumes, like people would be like, "Oh my gosh, I like your resume. Like that's like a, I can tell that you're a designer, right?" So that's kind of like what you're going for, and I think that's like kind of like Jenny's point. So yeah, like I mean, as you guys know, I don't really believe in the ATS or going through the ATS. So I always say like lean more towards visually designed resumes when you can catch people's attention. Yeah, even if it's like, I mean, my first resume was in Canva, and then because I didn't have time, I was like, I have to like just create something that I want it to look nice, right? So if you like, yeah, Canva works. Canva is a great option. And then eventually I switched over to Figma/Sketch at the time. Yeah.
Oh, somebody has questions about the CoPass link if it's required password. I think you can log into with your LinkedIn, and that's how you sign up for it, right? So yeah, if you have any like problems with that, like you can ask like a more specific like follow-up, because I believe it should be open access. Yeah. Okay. So this question, what makes a UI UX resume stand out to you at first glance in your personal hiring team experiences?
Good visual design, honestly. And numbers impact.
I think the order that my brain goes is, yeah, the visual design, and that can either be like the colors you've chosen, like that's very surface level, okay, like colors or the font, or just like how you've structured the thing. And then afterwards, I go into the bullets and I try to see if you're like, we've repeated this a few times, but like try to see if that bullet point is actually serving a purpose. Like, is it telling me something about what you've done for this project, or is it just you listing out things like I did this buzzword and that buzzword, and oh my gosh, like I worked with these stakeholder meetings. It's like, of course you did. As a UXer, you're probably going to be collaborative from the beginning. You're probably going to talk to all these people. I want to know, what did you do from those conversations? When we were interviewing for interns as well, and we were in the context of student projects, class projects, and things like that, but it really, you can tell the difference between people just kind of repeating things versus people who thought about it a little bit more and trying to think about like the next step or the next opportunity, or show that they are like, doing a little bit more than the standard, I did this buzzword and here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, like everybody has said visual design. That also goes for your portfolio. Like as much as people are like, oh, like you should talk about your like the process matters, like how you think about like product thinking matters. Like unfortunately, humans are visual creatures. We have eyes, and so the first thing that's going to stick out to any recruiter, like hiring manager, is the visual design of your resume and your portfolio. But also, and this might defeat the whole purpose of this session, that as a designer, I don't think people look at your resume that much. Like your portfolio is the big thing that people look at, but that might also perfectly segue into the next week's session, because I know we're doing a portfolio roast for that as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, come prepared, guys. Any typos, take them away first. Like those are like should be a given. And it's like the biggest red flag if you don't fix your typo. Okay, so there's another questions. I'm applying for internships right now, and most of my work is from school or personal projects. Have a fine arts background. Any way they can stand out with very limited experiences. Probably in UI UX.
So school and personal projects, are those specific to UX work? Because I think you can just really flex on that as hard as you can. It shows that you are eager to learn. It shows that you have done certain projects. If you can highlight certain like levels of responsibility that you had and like how much you've kind of flexed in that position as a designer or like project manager, I think that can help you get an internship. Ultimately, a lot of the things that interviewers who are looking for interns, they just they're really curious about what brings you into UX. How much do you want to learn about it? What is your growth potential? Do you ask questions that are also open-minded but also like introspective of what you are like what you're able to do now? Because everyone starts as a beginner. I was an intern too, and I went in like fresh faced. Oh my God, what is happening? But I think the thing that set me apart is I was really just showing that I have the potential. If you take a chance, I can show you that I can do it. Like here are the things that I've already accomplished so far. So take a look at your projects and really think about how do I highlight this as there's potential in me and I was able to do certain things.
Yeah, I would also say like lean on your it sounds like you're already leaning on your fine arts background. I would say just like lean into that cuz some like companies specifically when they're hiring, they're looking like they're missing a teammate who's really good with visual design, right? And so that's how you stand out. So that's my one piece of advice. The other one is I will say I will just flag as a hiring manager if I saw that you have a strong fine arts background. My biggest concern would be, oh, like, do you know how to work towards like business metrics? Can you work fast, right? So you want to like balance out your portfolio with like bullet points about that. So I'm like, okay, like this is a strong candidate because they're really good with visual design, but they're also like balanced out. Like they also know how to do like product thinking and they care about business impact. And if you don't have that kind of experience, like an easy way to like get experience is like to reach out to like startup founders or yeah, like I know like a lot of startup like I go to like actually go to like startup events or founder events. Like there's so many founders who like just don't know design and are like always looking for designers. So I know a lot of designers go to like design networking events, which is fine, but the founder events are actually where all the opportunities are.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. Okay. What do we think about resume templates with pictures?
No.
Yeah. I think it's a no. I don't feel like it's add to any values per se. Like
It might
people
add hiring biases.
Yeah. Right. If they want to see your picture, like they can go to your LinkedIn and see it. Like, what's the point of putting in a resume, you know?
I think it's an outdated template that's still being circulated now. But also it could be a template from different countries and different cultures. I know that like I think Japan and Korea, they do have the profile picture kind of part of the resume. Or certain industries, they're like, hey, you're going to be like in the position of whatever. They just want to make sure that it's like whatever it may be, right? But again, I think it's just a relic of past resume templates that's still happening, but it's very rare that you come across an actual resume, right? Like people using in these days with pictures, at least in America, as I've noticed.
I think this might have been our last questions. If there's no more question, I think the session can end now, and we're like already run over time. But thank you all for your participation, And do prepare your portfolio if you're tuning in for like the roast next week, same time. Yeah, and it will be a fun time. We're gonna look at your portfolio and yeah, roast them hard. So we're gonna go harder next time.
Yeah, I'm gonna like be like, what the fuck is this? I'm like that in real life.
Mm,
But I don't want to hurt people's feelings. So,
yeah.
yeah, maybe when you comment your portfolio, let us know how hard you want to go. Because I could go real hard.
Yeah.
I was like, was kindergarten make this or whatever? Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do, like, spice level extreme if you really
Yeah.
and
I
then
think we
just
have one last questions. Advice on strategically finding full-time opportunities. So Kathy already said, go to more like founders event. Look for like those clueless founder who don't know anything about designs. Yeah. What else? What else we have in terms of like tips and tricks or like strategy for this?
I mean, this is a really basic one, but since you're already on your second internship, I wonder if there are any like network connections that you can flex there. And if there's no opportunities on your immediate team, there might be sister teams or other partners that you have worked with that might be looking for that kind of position. So because you already have that in, you have the opportunity to kind of check out what's the lay of the land on the job market of that org or the team or the sister manager, whatnot. Other than that, just I know LinkedIn is pretty popular, and it is popular because hiring managers are on there and making posts. Now that they have the LinkedIn hiring circle thing for people, and hiring managers are like openly saying, hey, we're looking for these kind of people with this kind of specialty, blah, blah, blah. Reach out if you want. Try to see a lot of those posts. If you get on top of it, you can definitely kind of beat the rush of other people reaching out to that hiring manager. So you might just increase your chance of even getting feedback, getting maybe a referral somewhere else, or just kind of seeing how that kind of goes for you.
Yeah, I noticed you mentioned mass applying online. Please, for the love of God, do not mass apply. That is my take. Like just email. Like my advice is to email like recruiters and hiring managers. There's like salespeople are always like trying to like email people, right? Like there's a lot of tools out there to get the emails of people. So like leverage that. You're basically a salesperson for your own like brand, for your own work, right? So like you got to act like a salesperson. And on that note, a lot of designers like they stop at emailing after the first email. Like you guys need to follow up. Like have you seen how many times salespeople follow up? Like if you've ever gotten somebody in your inbox, they literally follow up like 4 or 5 times. What I really wanted to get an interview with Slack, I like message a Slack recruiter like every single day, like 4 or 5 times, and by the 5th time was when she finally replied, and I did get an interview. So that's one thing. And then to Jenny's point, so like how to keep up with hiring managers. When I really wanted to work at Dropbox, I literally checked their job postings every single day, and then I also went on LinkedIn and I searched design manager and I searched design director, and I followed every single design manager and every single design director who worked at Dropbox, so that whenever they posted something about an opening, I would be the first to know. And that it actually worked. Like when one of the hiring managers at Dropbox had an opening, I saw it like 10 minutes later, and I messaged her immediately, and I got an interview like 3 days later. So it works.
She's playing 5D chess. Like we have to, like get on top of it. And those are where your connection, like your social or your soft skills come in. Like message them, do a really good pitch, get their attention, like send that pretty resume, and they're like, oh man, Kathy's pretty cool. Let me see if I can set up some time with her. And then you just skip the recruiter call and you're just meeting with the hiring manager. That's how you really first market yourself. Just really take advantage of the resources around you. Try to build that connection and network like circle that you have. And networking isn't just about going up to people and be like, hi, how are you? Coffee chat, da, da, da. It's really just building that awareness of, hey, I'm here and you're there. And there's like these overlaps and there are these opportunities that we could come together. And the industry is relatively small too. Like you will see people around and you'll be like, man, I worked with that person from that other thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But hang in there, everyone. One step at a time.
Yeah. Okay. So if you like have portfolios want to submit, you're just gonna bring it to the next session and be early because we do on like a first come first serve basis. And for portfolios, it's gonna be much lower comparing to like resumes. So most likely we're gonna be able to like roast around like 4 portfolios for like the high quality roast. So yeah, I think we're good with questions for now, and I think the sessions can end here. So thank you so much, everyone, and the stream gonna end in a bit. So thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Kathy, and you can like connect with us on LinkedIn and book Kathy if you need like more details, dedicated one-on-one sessions. So see y'all next week.
Thanks, y'all.
W's in the chat.
Bye.
W's in the chat. W. Okay.